And at KICC, we were merely witnessing the announcement. As far as I'm concerned, from KICC, Kibaki was announced winner, and we made arrangements for him to be sworn the same day at 5 p.m. because it was announced at 4. Swearing started at 5 p.m. going on. The ceremony went on past 6. It was necessary. Yeah, let me finish. It was necessary. His mandate was ending that day on 30th. Excuse me. It was ending on 30th. It with 337,000. When we were checking them at night at KICC, I questioned that because the entire population of Chepalungu then was not even 300,000. And the commission admitted that it was a mistake. A 3 had been added in front of the 37,000 votes. The Juja with Tharaka Nithi, at that time, we did not know exactly the extent of the fraud until the Kriegler report. So I would advise that you read word only so that this end. I was at KICC, just like Orengo and others were for Raila. I hope I have answered.
I have another question. No? Sorry, I have an echo. I'm in the boardroom. Are you benefiting right now from this movement?
I have not benefited and I do not expect to benefit. And if you have checked me publicly, I've been out of government for 13 years. I've been out of government, this is the 13th year, and out of public, an elected space. But there is not a single time I have failed to add my voice on issues that count to the people. So for me, my motivation is not position. It is not money. It is a call from inside to do what I can for my country. I hope that answers you.
Yeah, that answers me. But Tribeless, just a minute. I'm winding. This is the last question. And my last submission to Martha Karua. Martha, may I want to advise you. There's a time I was on a certain space and you said, you talked about octogenarians and there's no problem about recycling leaders. Now, this is my advice to you. If you want to help this movement and this generation from recycling these leaders, look at the current cabinet that we have with people over 65 years handling matters concerning the youth. They even don't understand whatever problems and challenges the youth are facing. Right now, the world has moved into a technology sector. So this is my advice to you. One, if you want to help this movement, you should hold a press statement and tell people to come out on Nane Nane and fight for their country. Two, you should retire from active politics and go back and enjoy your retirement benefits, because you people are rich. You are worth 600 million, as I checked during the presidential debate. So me, I just want to advise you, if you want to help this movement, currently retire from active politics, and secondly, we will only engage you matters concerning law and other things and maybe advice. But for this movement, we currently don't need voices that are going to take advantage of the movement the way the opposition that you are part of did in the negotiation. So that is my current submission. And to people of the Republic of Kenya, Nane Nane is bigger and better. It is time we go out and fight for our country. There is no time to listen to other people. There is no time to say siji who infiltrated who. You go out as a person. This is organic. Nobody is funding us, and we should go out there and fight for our country. Nane Nane should be bigger and better. Thank you. For Martha, just retire and continue with life. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I advise you back and tell you that I shall not retire? You did not call me to the course, and nobody did. I will retire when my breath is no more.
Thank you so much.
And by that means that whether in a position or not, I will continue to add my voice. It's a right you cannot take, and integrity is not by age, it's by what is in you. We have leaders right now in that parliament and in the government that Kenyans are routing. Some of them are young and corrupt. Others are old and corrupt. I see a government just like a home. Just because you have become of age, you do not do away with your parents. So a government is like a home. It will have the old, it will have the young, it will have the middle age. And I will not belabor more on that point. May I ask whether I can answer Hannah Ali's question at this time?
Yes,
Yes,
kindly do.
please. Go ahead.
Hannah Ali has asked about the vetting process, the way I understood it. And I want to tell her that vetting currently is just a circus. And yes, there are false declarations of wealth. I think what we need is full implementation of the Constitution, electing leadership on the basis of Chapter 6, people with integrity, and once elected, people embracing the leadership principles contained in the Constitution. It is a big blot on our institutions, beginning with Parliament, the DCI, EACC, sometimes the courts. Our systems are broken. The transparency that is embedded in our Constitution means yearly when leaders, public officers declare wealth, it should not be in a sealed envelope. It should be open, and it should be somewhere online people can check, where people can participate, where people can question the amount declared, and where investigations can be had. Indictment on us as the people, because the professionals manning those institutions are Kenyans. And we collectively, not individually, because individually we are not all corrupt. Collectively, we are the ones rigging the system against ourselves. Right now, we are calling on the police to act in accordance with the law. We are happy when some of the courts act in accordance with the law. We need a conversation as Kenyans. What is our civic duty on building this country, on making us live the dream embodied in our Constitution, on making our institutions work? Even the corruption in leadership and during voting is aided and abetted by the people. We need to have a conversation on how to get over this. And I am glad that the youth in this revolution have initiated the conversation already. But we need to get deeper into it, because what ails our nation is that even those who are not corrupt give up when they see how widespread this thing is. And I want to agree with Kanjo that a lot of people are being forced into desperation by exclusion from the economic mainstream, because the system favors a few, as was stated by Hannah Ali. The state has been sort of repurposed to serve the ruling elite, not to serve a majority. And something I forgot to add
Guys, can you hear?
I cannot hear her. I think we lost
We
her.
can't hear her. Can't hear.
Senior counsel, we have lost you.
Afro,
Yes.
Afro, before Martha arudi nataka kumwambia, when your parents are not capable of going out to make food, you as a child, you are supposed to bring the food to them. So the idea of them wanting to rule till 100 years, we do not accept, and it is our time to now lead this country. For them, they should retire.
So
I
Afro, is
think
it my time?
yes, but Mathakaro can't hear you. I think
Ah,
she
okay,
got a
then I'll
call.
wait.
Yeah. Wait, I think she got a call. I think she's on a call. But engineer,
Thank you, bro. Once and for all, I'm thinking again of again we are missing the mark. My distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to challenge you on what we are doing. Number one, let me take this movement as a sweeter on a marriage that we are proposing to have. We introduced the sweeter to our hedgemates or else our colleagues in Bangladesh the other day. Unfortunately, they have gone with the girl. Today they are celebrating the girl. But as what are we doing on our other sides of the how? I remember on that very much Tuesday when we managed to enter the parliament. Boniface came in and he was there mobilizing now us. And then nyumbani kumekuwa kumbaya. The question is, if truly you are for us, if truly you are for the movement, then why will you use your influence, your voice, to tell the people to go home, not have achieved their mission, not have meant their call of the sovereignty? My friends, I won't say what Six is asking mother is wrong. In its better way is right. But again, is it the right time? For me, no. Let's focus on Nane Nane first. When Ruto manages to go home, all the trench will be cleaned and they will go home together. But the moment we shall now start dragging ourselves to 07, whatever came in and out, trust you me now, the minds will be shifted. Kenyan people will lack one thing. We are we are good in keyboards. We type a lot. We say a lot. It's my plea, Pasafidis. On Thursday, let come out in large numbers. I'll be there personally. I'll be there. And then let not have that afterthought month. What shall it happen? Definitely, our collective interest is Ruto to resign. And when we say Ruto, we have all agreed is Ruto's presidency. Mas usifike tu CBD, upige picha mbili tatu, alafu njito. Yes. Please, your flanks, your vuvuzelas, your whistles, back on our minds. Bangladesh have been doing this daily. But even for us, it was Wednesdays, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays. Assume now. This is just an assumption. We engineers love much assumption to come in conclusions. But just assume now Thursday we fail. Trust you me, if you go back to drawing bombs and start saying tisa tisa, it will be joke of the year. We have been given one opportunity and one opportunity for all the generations. I truly know, very much know, making a policy to become to realization is not just an overnight thing. But opportunities here we are given. We shall meet the police. They are, as we are organizing our sides, I am truly sure they are doing the same in their sides. But you remember what the Askari Gereza was saying yesterday night on KOT Space? They have been neglected. They are alone. I would urge all the uniformed men, once we get in the state, tafadhali juu wewe sasa unatetea kazi yako. Allow me to use my jifanya hata kama unioni, lakini nitetea haki yako manze. Usinipige risasi, usipige tiangazi. We cannot bank on the parliament now. It is the corruptest thing ever. The parliament is not for us. All these politicians are just cousins. The courts will say this today. The parliament will do this. Will just do the same against of what they said. In short, as I finalize Afrocentric, it's we and we alone. It's them and them alone. Today, irrespective of mother, the rest are singing the same song. As the music in Kenya Kwanza right now, we are alone. If we miss it on Thursday, we will have killed Kenya ourselves by our own hands. And if we win on Thursday, our kids and grandkids will come to pray these spaces and see there was once in lifetime of the old space 48 hours ago liberations. And they will celebrate us as we celebrate the then Mother Karuas of that time. Make sure you come out on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer. We had lost Senior Counsel Martha Karua. She was submitting. Can you hear us? Are you back?
Yes, yeah, you. I actually. Who I talked about the Kriegler report.
No.
I
No.
would like to tell you about 207. It is not good that you only listen to what I will say as a PNU person then, or what an ODM person will say. There is an independent report called the Kriegler report, which is a public document. You can Google it, and you'll be able to see that report found that both sides exaggerated the ballot to the extent that Judge Kliger concluded it was so muddled up that it was difficult to say who won. So swearing in Kibaki, we swore him just after the Electoral Commission at 4 p.m. on the 30th announced him as a winner. We made arrangements and the ceremony started at 5. And the cocktails went into the night. It was necessary to do so. His mandate was ending that day at midnight. We could not let there be a vacuum. Remember that then we did not have a constitution that has timelines on how to swear in a president or how to transition. So we did what was right. And I remember 207, I was telling the disgruntled ODM to go to court. That's the way you resolve disputes, not by fighting, not by violence. And I have shown that I live by my word. My governorship was stolen in 2017 in Kirinyaga. I went to court. I was not granted justice even by the Supreme Court, forcing me to go to the East African Court, not to get the seat, but to be affirmed. 2022, I and Raila went to court. We were not given justice, but we did not cause violence. So the fact that we swore Kibaki should not be an excuse for anyone to have committed violence. And that is why you did not see me among those who were taken to The Hague. I abide by the rule of law as always. Lastly, about leaving politics, I reject that advice. I will not. The call is personal, and I work for the people. I worked for the people as a Gen Z of that day, as a young person in the 90s, when I was just an activist and a leader in the Law Society. I worked for the country before I was elected. And when multi-party came, I sought election. I worked for the people as an elected member for 20 years. For the last 13 years, I've not been in an elected office. Actually, I have been a person drawing pension, a retired person, but I'm still working for the people and my voice is still audible. What is there to retire from? I will still seek office. So long as I have strength, I will. But the call is constant, whether on a seat or not. And no, I'm not among those filthy rich politicians. I have a head over my roof. I have a car I drive, but I'm not one of those raking in millions and millions. Finally, integrity is not about age. There are young people who are corrupt, entrepreneurs. There are others who are honest businessmen, and the same with the older generation. Chapter 6 does not recognize age. It recognizes what is in you as a person. So I'd advise we stop ageism, but we look at the individual. I would personally be happy if a majority steering the nation were the younger people, because they are the ones with more at stake. They are the ones starting families, taking children to school. They are the ones, I actually call the young people wenye nchi. And my generation, sisi ni wananchi. So I would rather wenye nchi were the majority in any leadership position. And I also had sought to answer Hassan Ali by agreeing that the system is rigged and that why vetting has become a circus is because our institutions are broken. But every institution is good as the people manning it. Parliament is broken because the parliamentarians we have fallen short of what is expected. A majority of them cannot even pass chapter 6. They are guided in IBC, whether a clerk or a commissioner, work for your country. Be patriotic. If you're a judge or a clerk in the court, the same. And this is the conversation we must enhance as we push for the accountability bar and as we push for a fresh start. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Clear cut. Rabia, ulikuwa na swali?
Yeah, thank you.
Mwanzo nashukuru na nakukaribisha ongea kwa Kiswahili.
Ni lugha ya taifa.
Kuongelea la kwanza, katika mazungumzo yako ulitaja idara ya EACC. Kwenye huu wiki iliyopita uliona wakilia sana kwa ajili ya kesi ya graft ya Najib Balala, ODPP kuitupa. Ningependa kusikia maoni yako kwa hayo, kulingamana na uwezo wa ODPP kutekeleza haki bila kubagua. Cha pili, kuna issue ya vetting umeongelea, na cha kushangaza tunaona mtu waingia vetting kuulizwa maswali yasiyo na maana wala uzito. Mfano, niliona majibu ya PS Wildlife kabla akwe sworn in, na nilisoma hiyo document on the parliament website, nikaona ni kama mzaha, manake kutojibu swali na kuirukisha kwa wengine ndio niliona kwenye hiyo document ile proceedings. Swali yangu ni, je, huu process ya vetting kwa nini wanaunganisha pamoja na swearing bila kuhusisha Wakenya? Hapo twaona kabisa.
Rabia, tumekupoteza.
Samahani, wanipata?
Endelea.
Kwa hivyo nilikuwa naulizia kwenye huu process ya vetting, ni kwa nini huwa wanaunganisha vetting pamoja na swearing in katika siku moja bila kuhusisha Wakenya, bila kutosikia sauti yetu, yani hatuko involved kabisa na hapo, sauti chetu haijasikika kabisa. Pia kwenye hili mada ya vetting utapata wanauliza hii swali ya net worth, na hii issue imenigusa sana mimi, maanake utakuta kwenye hii mada ya net worth, sisi wa pwani wajua tuna shida kubwa sana. Kununua mtu na shilingi 200 ni rahisi sana, na kama wanaabudu wale wenye hela nyingi, utapata atakubali bila pingamizi ya hiyo uchaguzi. Hapo nitaomba ushauri wako, ni vipi tunaweza kuboresha hiyo process ya uchaguzi, hiyo process ya vetting, hiyo process ya nomination. Wakati walikuwa wanafanya nominations za CS, niliona hata huku kwenye mtandao wa X kuna baadhi ya watu walikuwa wanatengeneza video wasema wao wangependa pia kukimbilia hiyo seat ya CS. Cha kuhuzunisha, mimi nilikuwa na fursa kidogo ya kuinteract na mtu mwenye alikuwa anatarajia ama kudhani kwamba alikuwa nominated. Na ni mtu mwenye alikuwa mpiganizi siasa ya kitambo. Sasa yule kukuja kwa meza, yani asema wazi, mimi nataka nipewe CS ya wildlife ama CS ya mining, hapo ndio nitatengeneza pesa. Kamuliza mshahara hapo ni ngapi? Asema 1,000,000 kwa mwezi. Kamuliza hiyo kwani haikutoshi? Watafuta tena kufyonza, yani kufinya tena Wakenya hapo ukate deals yako, yani hauna haya kabisa. Ona ni uchungu sana, manake sisi kama tuseme sisi si watu wenye tuko na umri kubwa, lakini tuna matarajio makubwa pia, kwa sababu tukiwa tunalelewa pale shuleni utashinda kusikiza mwalimu akwambia you are the leaders of tomorrow, you are our future leaders, you are our future presidents, lakini hakuna chansi hapo. Sisi hatuna hata chansi kidogo. Unaweza kuta hapo vijijini kuna watu wenye kabisa wanafaa MCA, kabisa wanafaa MP, lakini wenye wataenda kuchaguliwa haswa huku pwani ni mtu mwenye ataonesha yani wazi, akuje na kifua aoneshe yeye ni mtu wa pesa, wa hela nyingi, ndio apate heshima kwa ile pesa. Kwa hivyo nitaomba ushauri wako kwa hii issue ya nominations vetting. Vipi sisi wa Kenya wenye labda hatuna connection yoyote kwa political class wala elite, vipi tunaweza sisi pia kupigania? Manake ikiwa sasa nominations yafanywa tu na president mwenyewe na yeye hatujui, he's completely disconnected from Kenyans. He is so disconnected, it is painful. It is even painful to talk about it, because this is the president, these are the people who are supposed to be in positions of power. Hawatusikii, hawatutambui, yani ni kama huna pesa huwezi kuwa na sauti mahali utasikika. So yangu ni hayo, nimeshukuru. Pole, samahani, nina uchungu mwingi sana, manake wajua sisi pia tungependa kupata positions penye tunaweza kuongoza docket fulani au kundi fulani, kama ni MP, kama ni MCA, wengine wanataka kuendeleza, walete maendeleo kwa kijiji yao, lakini utapata ile he's being reduced to just opening a CBO, achange hela hapa na kule. Kuna women's rep, kwanza hiyo ofisi ndio naona ni mbaya kabisa, yani haisaidii. Women's rep office iko, apata ile bajeti yake, lakini huko vijijini utakuta sisi ndio tunajitegemea. Sisi kama akina wanadada tunaanza kuchanga hela ya kununua pads, for God's sake, sanitary towels tunanunulia wanafunzi wa shule. Then utakuta mtu kama mimi, wacha tuongee ile kitu kwa uwazi. Samahani lakini mtanisamehe. Kuongea ile kitu ya uwazi, mimi kama mwanadada, wewe kama mama yetu Martha, huwezi tumia pads ya reusable. Yani ni kero. Utumie pads reusable uende ukaoshe. Sawa? Lakini huwezi hata kuafford ile cup. Wale wenye wako vijijini, kwa sababu huwezi kuafford yale hela ya kununua single use sanitary towels, utapata wao mara nyingi tunawanunulia ile reusable. Sasa wajua, you should love for your brother what you love for yourself, and love for your sister what you love for yourself. Nina uchungu mwingi, manake utakuta women's rep hawasaidii, utakuta kuna ofisi zenye haisadiki. Maybe kumalizia pia nitatoa mada la 4 au swala la 4. Vipi utaweza kutushauri au kutuadvise kulingamana na hizi ofisi zenye zimejaa pale kwenye county government? Hakuna ni namna vile tuweza unganisha zile county government zipungue, ndio pia tupate kuboresha utumishi wa fedha, isiwe ya juu, isiwe inatumika vibaya, na iende mingi yake iende yani kusaidia jamii. Yangu ni hayo, nitafungia hapo. Samahani kwa kuongea kwa uchungu, si kawaida yangu, napenda kuwa mtulivu sana, lakini nimeshukuru kwa huu fursa na Afrocentric kama kawaida, na kushukuru kwa kufungua huu space wa maana ili tuweze kujenga taifa pamoja. Shukran sana mama, karibu, asante sana.
Asante Rabia. Tribeless, go ahead, ask your questions.
Thank you so much, Afro. Thank you so much, Afro. Thank you so much, Madam Martha Karua, and everybody else who are in this space this morning. Me, I have a few questions to Martha Karua, with due respect, and I would like you to note them, because later you may respond to them. There are just around 3 questions. Number 1, Madam Martha Karua, you were the chief agent of the former president Mwai Kibaki, the 2007 general elections, and you have said clearly that you hurriedly swore in Mwai Kibaki after announcement of presidential results. You hurriedly, knowing very well that there were the votes that had been counted at that time, some were not complete, and you knew very well that, because I watched you on national television. You knew very well, you know what you said, your speech during that time. You knew very well that you were swearing in Kibaki while everything had not been completed. Now you are here telling us that you are fighting here with us for justice, when you know very well that during that time you participated in hurrying up things to cover up in the name of vacuum. My goodness, Uhuru Kenyatta was elected in 2013. He won again in 2017. Was Uhuru Kenyatta sworn in that evening? The answer is no. Even if the Constitution, because you have defended yourself that the Constitution was not clear on timelines, for heaven's sake, Uhuru Kenyatta waited for almost 1 or 2 weeks to be sworn in. What was the hurry for? That is number 1. Number 2, Madam Martha Karua, with due respect to you, you are 66 years old. At 66 years old, having been a member of MP for Gichugu for all those years, having been a minister for water, minister for justice and constitutional affairs from 2005, having defended Kibaki fiercely until you became minister again. Now you teamed up with Raila Odinga in 2022. You yourself had pronounced earlier that you will never work with Raila Odinga. that he was one person who had issues and one person who never accepted victory. How comes, if you are not here playing politics, how did you come again to team up with Raila Odinga? For heaven's sake. This is clear case of you playing politics and here hiding behind us because now Raila has gone to work with William Ruto. Now you have found you have been sidelined. You are trying to find a way of kujishika na sisi. Last question for you. You have said that you have been out of politics or of elected position or working for over 13 years. Fine. But for heaven's sake, you know we have 47 million Kenyans. Why are you still in politics? For heaven's sake, you are part of the problems we have experienced. You are the people who have led us to this place. For my uncle was banned in Kiambaa during the 2007 general election. That you defended Kibaki. My uncle was banned in that fire. And now you are here. You defended Kibaki when you know that Kibaki did not win fairly. That led into to the war. Let us not lie. You know the war erupted because Kibaki did not win fairly. And now you're here. I lost my uncle, courtesy of people like you included. You are the chief agent at Bomas of Kenya. What are you telling us here? We are fighting for people like you. If you had sorted these things, Kitambo, if you had faced Moi, we could not be here. We are here because of failed people like you.
Very, very passionate, emotional submission. Tribeless. Came from your heart. I hope Martha can answer. Do you want me to take one more question before you
No,
answer?
let's with that one, and then I'll go to Rabia when it's hot.
Okay.
Yeah, tribeless. Yes, I was a chief agent for Kibaki, just like Orengo was a chief agent for Raila.
Two
And
wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs
now
don't compare with
allow
Orengo. You
me
answer for
to
yourself.
answer. You asked a question and you will allow me to answer. If by being a chief agent of Kibaki I was wrong, was Orengo wrong to be a chief agent for Raila, or is it in your view that Kibaki did not deserve to have an agent? Because we must look at things broadly. What does a chief agent in a tallying hall, a national tallying hall, do? Ballots are never counted at the national tallying hall.
I
A
did
chief
not ask
agent,
you, with due
listen,
respect, a point of
let
order. I did not
allow
ask you whether
allow
you are
me to
chief
finish.
agent. Answer my question.
You've got to
Tribeless,
give me
please,
time
please,
to
please
answer.
allow Honorable to speak without interruption. Without
What
interruption.
I'm saying is this, that it is not true that Kibaki was announced before the votes were counted. I was at KICC from 29th through the night to the 30th afternoon when we left KICC. All the votes, all the papers from around the country were brought, and every vote was accounted for before Kibaki was announced. Please go back to your records. It's public records. You will see that it is during the night that we were able to even find the exaggeration in Chepalungu. So it is not true. Number two, why do you think Raila picked me as his running mate? If he believed I had manipulated his vote, I want to tell you that he would not have appointed me. He knows, just like I know, that 2207 was a case of who is fooling who. It's a case of who stole from who. Exaggeration on both sides. Not in all polling stations, because I can assure you, in my constituency, there was no exaggerated votes. 20,000 voters did not vote. Where there were exaggerated votes, it was between 95%, and in the case of Kasipul Kabondo, 115% people voting. So please, Go back to records and get this rationally, and you will see that there is nothing I did wrong by being Kibaki's agent. About the swearing, in the current 2010 constitution, there's an elaborate process. Even the time of swearing in is provided. And it was provided because of the problem of 207. 207, there was no requirement to wait for any period. And as a lawyer and as a minister of justice, because we were still holding on until the new government is sworn, my duty was to make sure that there is no vacuum. Once the announcements were made, it was our duty to arrange for President Kibaki to be sworn in. And we did that. And therefore, there was no vacuum. Yes, I am still in politics. I cannot speak for you or for the 7 million Kenyans when it comes to offering oneself. You offer oneself individually. I have not been in an elected position in the last 13 years, but I still serve Kenyans minus a position. And I keep on saying that my voice is more audible than for the people, some of the people who are elected. I am doing it as a volunteer, as a civic duty, as a Kenyan. And you cannot tell me to withdraw just like I cannot tell you to withdraw. It's my country too. But when it comes to elective position, you give your stand up and I stand. Let each person market themselves and let Kenyans decide. You cannot decide for Kenyans alone. And I will also, I'm very, very sorry that your father was burnt at Kiaba, but I'll tell you that it is not Kebake or PNU who burnt. And yes, Kebake's, they sent police and police killed in several areas. That's why you saw Uhuru and Ruto together at ICC. Both sides were indicted. I can tell you that had I done any iota of thing, I was the most visible and vocal person on Kibaki's side. Had I done anything wrong, I would have been the first to be taken to ICC. I am sorry that the government I was in used the guns against the people, but I can assure you I had nothing to do with it. Justice Ministry does not control the police, and some of the things we got to know after the whole thing was over. I understand your emotion, and I once again say, as a human being and as a Kenyan, sorry. That incident was so ghastly, but look at Kenyans. They forgot all about that. If you see who they have elected, we should not forget certain incidents because it should help us to determine our future. And I suppose that is why we are here now in this space trying to find a new path. Now, for Rabia, EACC blows hot and cold. Sometimes they do so well. Other times, their behavior is questionable. They are as opaque as they come when they want to be. And at times, they are good. So, yes, they may say that in the case of Balala. But there are many other cases where they have accepted in the withdrawal by the system. We need an overhaul of all our institutions, including EACC. Have they even tried to get the background of the people who are being vetted so as they are able to say, this person is saying so much, they have this much? They have investigators just like DCI. So we have a problem. We need to fix that problem. About the women rep seat, it is not just the women rep, it's the seats also of the MPs holding CDF. The use of monies held on behalf of the people is not above board. And I will blame also the national and county government. All that money being given to little pockets should be aggregated, and every school going children should get their pads, just like they are given books. It's something necessary for the children to be able to learn. About being a leader, I think until we change our electoral system, it's very difficult for those without money to be leaders. We have monetized our politics. As voters, we insist on being given little monies. Maybe one day, when we change the system so that parties and not individuals are elected, and every party puts a list of the people they will nominate once elected. That way, it is not an individual who will be campaigning, will be campaigning as a party, and there will be no pressure on people giving money. That will give a poor person as well as the same chance as a rich person. And it means because the party is obligated to list their people before the election, if the party favors a bad candidate over a good candidate, it will lose the vote. It is a discussion for another day, but we sure have a problem. For now, I recommend if you feel you have a calling as a leader, start talking to your people, start laying your groundwork. In a few cases, youth without money have been able to defeat those with money. But your choice of party will matter because your party can deny you the ticket the last moment. I thank you for these very insightful questions. Even the question about 207, it is important because there are people who have been given half or untruthful information about what really went on. It is important everybody gets what they have in their chest out. I thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Guys, we have to stay focused. We have to know that Nane Nane March, that's the hashtag we are pushing. And unity, we have to remain united. And now Gen Z generational zote are involved in this movement. Those who are trying to gatekeep the movement, please, you are an enemy to the movement more than you think you're helping. Right now, we need everyone on board. We have to come against, we have fought tribalism, classism, ageism. Uh, we are now one Kenya. The new Kenya we want is a Kenya for everybody. That's what we're advocating for: good governance, transparency, and accountability. So, guys, that is the code. Please, let's stay on code. And so, by the time tunafika Nane Nane, we are all together. Because once the propaganda machinery start taking place and they start saying, oh, only watoto wako peke yao, hawataki kazi, and then we can't bridge the generational gap, we will just be this like the government that we're fighting right now. If we stay exclusive, right now we have to be inclusive. So, guys, pick up the mic. Let's hear your views. Let's take more questions. Toria, karibu kwenye mic.
Thank you so much, Afrocentric. Thank you so much, Afrocentric, Psycho, Arabia. I have a few questions to Madam Mother here. So, you are the running mate with Raila Odinga and who Ruto won. And you knew very well since 2022, you've seen that nothing has ever been done in this country to show any progress in the country. You've seen that corruption has been going on in the country, but you awaited until the Gen Zs. You saw the bill for 2023-2024 was passed, which it somehow oppressed the common mwananchi. You never said anything. You waited until the youths went to the streets to proclaim their rights and reject the bill. That's when you started talking like you are supporting the youth. Why now at this moment would you step down at this moment, or are you trying to be an opportunist in our movement, or what? What is your stance in this, and are you going to appear on Nane Nane in the grounds? Because you are very good, you politicians are very good in giving us advices or telling us things in the spaces, but physically in the grounds, you are nowhere to be found. Are you going to appear on the grounds? Why did you drop the last moment from partnering with Raila Odinga to come and, to support the agencies? And secondly, what's your take on how we are being killed innocently while we are practicing our democratic rights? You know, we are following our constitution, but the government isn't following the constitution. They are killing people, abducting, but no one is talking about it. They are sending fear shivers to us while we are proclaiming our rights. We have those big leaders or politicians who go for demonstration. They are not abducted, they are not attacked, and they are not even sent water cannons. We are peaceful, we don't have any weapons, but they are attacking us. No one is talking about it. What's your take on that? Thirdly, I don't see any work the women rep do. So as for that, no. Okay, my last question is, we have public properties, like we can say JKIA is a public property for everyone, for every Kenyan. It's an international airport. Why would, I don't know if it's possible for common mwananchi to be involved in some discussions or decision making, because you politicians, you go there, make decisions on your own, and the effects later come to us, we the common mwananchi wenye tunakuwa oppressed kwa ground. Okay, I have only that.
Thank you, Toria. Jmo.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. We can hear you.
So, I just observed something about this movement. It's like some of us are very intolerant to different opinions or different personalities. And I think that's dangerous for the movement. My name is James, and I am for the movement. I'm in support of the Nane Nane march. And the reason why I'm in support is that we are all advocating for good governance. Me personally joined because I want government services to be efficient. Like nowadays, you see a place catches fire, like a whole neighborhood inashika moto. No firefighters, no nothing. People are coming out to save themselves against fires on their own. So, like you apply for a government document, maybe an ID, unangoja forever. So you see there's clearly a problem. Services as efficient as they are supposed to be. So when I come to these spaces and I hear people attacking one another, maybe gatekeeping the movement, it's for Gen Zs alone, like attacking old people that they're not supposed to be in government, I feel like we are also becoming a problem. Actually, that's the problem we're fighting against. And I'm not fighting to chase away Ruto and replace him with some other intolerant guys, whether they are young or personally, Mimi wouldn't even want to run for any political office, but I don't mind whoever is in office regardless of age, tribe, akuwe nani, bora tu anafanya what dictates of the constitution. I'm good with it. So those wars about, I didn't personally join the movement to fight old people, because I've seen younger people being corrupt. I'm in this movement to fight corruption and to advocate for good governance. So my question is, let me direct my question to Mother Karua. As a citizen, I'm deeply concerned about the current state of governance, as I've made it known. So you've been in political leadership for the longest time possible. So I'm reaching out to seek your valuable insights. How did we get here? How did we get this burden like governing our country? So please share your experience and maybe perspective about how Kenya reached this point, whereby we have a whole population that is disenfranchised. So yeah, that's it.
Thanks, JMO. I am aligned with what you've said there, that let us not become what we are fighting. It's very easy to turn into, if you fight a monster, make sure you don't become a monster. Let us hold to the values that we began with and the principles that we are sticking to: good governance, transparency, accountability for a better Kenya. Mkenya, are you there?
Yes, niko hapa.
Mike ni yako, karibu.
Okay, thank you so much. So, thank you so much, the host and listeners and senior counsel. So, for me, I got some few questions to ask a senior counsel. First question is, do you believe politicians are shortchanging Kenyans? And also, do you believe Kibaki regime brought back tribalism? If you see from 2002 and 2007 on the whole incident that happened. And the whole incident on 207 showed that politicians are bigger than Kenya. That's why the swearing in, that's why all the infighting. You guys didn't consider Kenyans, right? Because I bet you guys saw what was coming, right? But at that moment, I'm talking about both sides, not PNU and ODM. I'm talking about politicians, both sides. So you guys, you saw how many Kenyans died, lost property, but you could just take a minute and just say Kenya is bigger than every politician on both sides, right? So my other question: why do politicians always change their mind when they're in government and when they're out of government? When they're out of government, they talk so good, oh, I'll do this and do this, all that stuff. But when they get in government, right, they always come up with some stuff that's crazy. And this stuff that they always say, oh, this president is good, but people around him. No, the buck stops with the president. Hiki tunasema, oh, huu ni mzuri, but watu around him, nah, that stuff is just, hiyo fake kwenda. And politicians with the empty promises, what should be the consequences? Like instant consequences. Hapo hakuna hii mambo kudanganya watu, we are tired. And have you ever benefited from tribalism? I know corruption, you say no, but tribalism, like from your political life. And have you ever been part of a part, like, political, tribal political part? We as Kenyans, we have been shortchanged by all the governments since independence. We have been shortchanged. We deserve more when we deserve better. We cannot live like that. There's no way politicians can have their sons, their daughters themselves, good health care and all that stuff, but the rest of the Kenyans cannot even afford a meal. Nane Nane, we are changing Kenya, clean slate, new government, right? All the old guys, we value you, but it's time kuketi kwa bench, you see how we're going to run the country. We need our country back. Na kama, do you also believe that kama umeiba, regardless of which era, which regime, do you think that you should return back the money? Because those are the same wealth, ill-gotten wealth that cannot be get, Kenyans cannot get. Haiwezi kakuwa the government of Kenyans are milking cash for politicians. I mean, I'm so pissed off. I'm so passionate about this country because najua we can do a lot of stuff. But ni wizi regime, wizi politician waizi na ukabila, we need to stop. We need to stop. Na hii 99 is about getting our country back, and we need good governance. from us. You remember, you our new Peter. No, you guys had your turn. Just sit back on the bench. Come on, to advise. I think it's a time for new blood. Thank you.
Let's take the real one, then I'll yield the microphone back to Karua Senior Counsel. Real Joe. Real Joe, can you hear me? Real Joe unavailable. June 25th. Jerry?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Awesome. So thanks, everyone. I think for me, first and foremost is to just condole with all of the families that have lost loved ones during this movement, people who've been injured, and to really applaud the courage of people who have taken action directly or indirectly to support this like really important moment we are in as a country. Even as I'm listening in, I think there are three things that I have been advocating for in every space that I have been that I just want to share with this group here. First of all, we need to understand that as young people, we are fighting for a cause that is attempting to reverse problems that are systemic and have been endemic in this country for years. So we are not just fighting to win, to have this government go, but it's also about starting to build this country again on the right foundations. When I think about Mau Mau and what it took for them to get there, imagine at the time of celebration, a lot of those young people who had fought did not actually take up positions of leadership. And it's true that they had the ability and the courage to fight, but it was also very true that they did not have the knowledge and the ability to be able to lead. So for me, it's a challenge to all of us. We are thinking about this not just in relation to what we want to achieve, but what it will take for us to start rebuilding this country afresh. And the challenge is to understand, read. I want to challenge everyone. If you've never read the Constitution is less than 200 pages. It's not just for lawyers. The Constitution is for everyone. In fact, the Constitution says that we're supposed to defend the Constitution. You can't defend, respect, and uphold something you don't know. So pick up the Constitution. It's available online. It's free. Read, even if you don't read the whole document, read chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 6 of the Constitution. It's a very powerful document. And as us as young people understanding what it means for us is going to be the first step in us guys being able to build this country in the way that we hope and desire it will go. Number 2, tujiangalie. I think when I was thinking about the vetting process as it was happening over the weekend, and somebody pointed it out, how can a billionaire look for a job? Like, what is a billionaire doing looking for a job? But can you imagine that the same amount of greed that it takes for someone with a lot of money to still want to accumulate more, which is part of the problem we're seeing in this country? It's the same amount of greed that it takes for you to pay to skip a line so that you get an advantage over somebody else. Somebody else could not have afforded to wait in line. You have paid, umepeana hongo so that you skip the line. Umesimamishwa na polisi, kuna shida na there's just something that is wrong. Perhaps you not even need insurance. You pay money so that the system does not apply to you. Imagine it's the same amount of greed. So let us also look at ourselves in the way that corruption is endemic in every aspect of our lives and start change there. So for you, the next time someone is asking for a bribe, call them out. Not because we are all saints, or some of us are saints and others aren't, but this problem permeates not just in political spaces, it permeates in every aspect of our lives. So tujiangalie. I really like that line in that song that says, yani ile mkono inapeana hongo imevaa colors za flag. So let us respect and demand in this movement, let us respect and demand something that we're also upholding in our everyday lives. Number 3 for me, it is to really applaud artists and people who have been talking and educating. Education is so powerful. Like our wisdom that has applied over the years to date is that information is power. And so I want to thank artists who have used different platforms to educate young people. But because it's a movement, we're in a moment now, I want to encourage guys to be involved in. It's not just so that you can get paid, but please take civic education to all levels that you have access and influence to, without hoping or expecting payment. I think I really loved what the team at Two Alif Birds has been doing, retelling Kenya's history. But not everyone can afford a ticket to go and listen in. So I want to thank some of the ways in which, for example, the director of that show is encouraging free movie nights. Let's see a lot of innovation so that we can teach everyone in this country about civic education and spread the news, because this movement is not for now, it's for years, and we need to have the knowledge and the information to be able to build this country the right way. Thank you, everyone.
Perfect. Chege. Chege Wamburu, can you hear me? Rabi, mbona kama Chege nakusikia?
Simpati mimi. Can't hear.
Haya. Jeff, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the space. I think it's 1 minute to midday. I want to categorically maybe refocus us into the main thing. I think Nane Nane should be the main thing, and I think we have only 2 days now to go. So I think let's not be sidetracked to other things. And the fact that our group, or I mean this movement, is tribeless, we shouldn't even be talking about tribe at this moment. We may have personal grievances, but I think bringing them into the space at this moment, it won't help a lot. I have a question to senior counsel, and I think I have followed her for a very long time. I think I know her standing in terms of personality and judgment. Do you think that the political class as currently constituted has the solutions for Kenya? That's number one. Number two, why are you running? Why would you run again? Because you did that, I think, in 2013. So what exactly is the motivation that moves the political class to, kind of try and want these political positions and power? I think I don't have much today, but I want us to really refocus on, let's not rant. Yeah, kila mtu amekasirika because Kenya is not working, and the fact that the government as currently is constituted is rubbing itself on our face, like defiantly. Tumesema tu tunataka vitu kidogo atu, like we are not complicated. I mean, we are simply saying we want constitutionalism, we want things to work, and they are not working. So thank you, Afrocentric.
Thank you, Jeff, for your questions. I think I'll give the microphone to Martha Karua right now to answer those questions.
Thank you. I'll begin with the was it Toria or Rabbi Toria? Um, You started by saying Ruto won. I don't believe that, but since the court ruled in his favor, we are leaving his regime. But I would want to tell you that I have not just been sitting waiting for Gen Z. If you watched last year, 2023, Azimio was on the road protesting the rising cost of living, among other things, and also asking for the servers to be opened. But the main issue, which even made the population support us, was the cost of living. When we were invited to the talks, I reluctantly was part of that, not as a negotiator because it's Kalonzo who went, but we were part of it and we gave them a package that cost of living was going to be the deal breaker. After almost 1 year, more than 8 months of negotiations in December, they came minus the cost of living. And we in NARC Kenya disassociated ourselves with NADCO and rejected the report publicly. I remember the leader of DAPK, Wamalwa, also refused to sign the report. So since then, we've sort of been alienated from Azimio up to the time now we have withdrawn. Although the time of notice is not over, we are no longer part of Azimio. But I wanted you to know that, yes, we have not been quiet. And whether in a coalition or just as myself or with the NARC Kenya party, we have never been quiet in the face of injustices. You asked about water cannons. We too were visited with colored water cannons. They attempted to shoot, and if you recall or may not know, Raila's car, which was leading the entourage, was shot no less than 11 times. We also suffered just like you did, and a lot of people, over 50 people, were killed in last year's demonstrations. So it is not that we have been sitting waiting for the Gen Z. Over the years, not just last year, we've done what we can. And you can go back and find that I've never been a citizen without a voice. In and out of office, I've used my agency where I can. JMO, before I go to JMO, the airport leasing to Adani or concessionaire, Kenyans have a voice. Public participation is in the constitution. And the genesis of these Gen Z protests is the government Ruto making public participation a circus or just something cosmetic. The public, through the Gen Z, want to be heard. They want their concerns acted upon. So JKIA is no different. They will have to listen to Kenyans. We cannot wait idle to see a public asset wasted. So far nobody is telling us for what benefit we are leasing this most priceless public asset. Leasing out an airport, both the things to do with aeronauticals and the non-aeronauticals is like leasing your front door to your neighbor, meaning that people can enter and leave without you knowing. So we are entitled to public participation, and this part of the accountability Kenyans are asking for. Jmo, thank you for the no gatekeeping comment. The state of governance, that is why the call for transparency and accountability. It is lack of enforcement. Kibaki's first government, even before the constitution was passed, was fairly transparent until Anglo leasing, carried over from the Moi era, reared its ugly head and part of the government fell to corruption. The second government, the coalition government, both sides accepted to live with corruption. And that is why, among other reasons, the record of human rights deteriorated. And that's why I personally chose to resign, leave the benefits, and become a backbencher. So enforcement is what gets people to remain on the narrow path, because where there is enforcement, it is very costly to the individual to veer out of line. But here we don't punish corruption, we celebrate it. Even as voters, we are electing the most corrupt and leaving people who have a better record. So this is a conversation we need to have, and the accountability this movement is asking. It's also about enforcing the rule of law. Living by the rule of law means enforcement, not making vetting a circus, and truly appointing only individuals who qualify under Section 6 of the Constitution. Mkenya, you are asking whether politicians have shortchanged Kenyans. And this is all politicians. Yes, indeed, we have collectively shortchanged Kenyans. Look at even this very last act of some in Azimio joining government. A government that has violated people's human rights, forget even the economic war they have waged against us. A government that has in the immediate wantonly killed its own citizens, maimed and injured, without laying groundwork, even asking for apologies, compensation, cessation of that violence upon Kenyans, etc., etc. Even the NADCO report was a short change. Why would we accept a report that has no cost of living element? That is why Ruto was confident to again overtax Kenyans in the 2024 finance bill. If we had collectively refused NADCO, I doubt that they would have had that courage to go ahead and treat Kenyans dirty. And if they had, then we would have had a groundswell on the side of resisting oppression. But when some of us go to bed with the oppressor, then we are making the oppressor. The push for accountability a little more harder, but not impossible. Mukenya, did we see what was coming before 2007? Yes. If you remember, those who were of age and can remember, there was a long campaign after the referendum, the failed 2005 referendum. An almost 1.5 years campaign, whipping emotions. And the call was 41 tribes against one. It was simply coded 41 against one. That time, we had 42 communities. Now 2 have been added. We have 44. And that is not to say that those of us who were on the government side, because this was an ODM call, that we were saints. Also, the intolerance of sacking everybody because they refused the referendum. That was also intolerance on part of the president's side. So we built up the tension and many other things I cannot unpackage that happened in government leading to the division in the referendum, like refusing to take all views on board in the WACO draft. So I cannot say that any one side bears all the responsibility. Both PNU and ODM bear the responsibility of what happened. We need to galvanize. You asked whether I have ever benefited from tribalism. Absolutely not. I believe the positions I was given is my input as a politician. But if you're asking whether we have ever galvanized the community, yes. In the tribal of people, especially from Mount Kenya and people seen as outsiders, we joined together to those in the Rift Valley to encourage them to fight back. And the clashes finished. Those are the ones in 1998 that brought death in especially in Nakuru area and also in Olmoran, in Laikipia and Supiri. If you're asking whether we have galvanized the community, yes, but for positive causes that affect everyone else. Even our recent meeting at Limuru was to get our community, the Mount Kenya people, out of mental slavery. They were like under lock and key, almost physically and mentally. I am glad that this time round they joined other Kenyans and that work was done. But whether I have ever advocated for only my people as opposed to others, we too condole the bereaved and really feel for those who are injured, for those who are missing, and for those visited upon with atrocities, and start afresh as Kenyans. And that's why I support the Gen Z movement. Can billionaires serve? I think it's not about the wealth you have. It's whether your wealth is honestly accumulated. A majority of wealthy people in Kenya, especially with a political background, are people who have accumulated their wealth in an unquestionable. I have not seen, I have seen very few wealthy people, wealthy in the sense of real wealthy, who are politicians and who are honest. I agree with you that our artists are doing a great job. I love especially the Utawala by Juliani. It speaks to me. And Eric Wainaina's Nchi ya Kitu Kidogo. I too watched Step Boya, which is juxtaposing our past history, the assassination of Boya, and the present day, while our young have been murdered for political reasons, and also calling for accountability. Jeff, I agree entirely. entirely. Our focus must remain on Nane Nane, on the task at hand of bringing accountability, bringing transparency to our country. Does the political class have a solution? Not alone. If we had a solution, everything would have been okay last year after the Azimio demonstrations. We would have been able to negotiate something meaningful for Kenya at NADCO. This shows that this time where matters stand, we must not look upon the political class entirely, I belonging to it. Raila said that they had spoken and there was going to be dialogue. I cautioned on my Twitter timeline that you should be worry of us, the political class, because we are easy to be co-opted. We are easy to be compromised. And it has come to be true. Let us look at Kenyans together doing what they must do for themselves and relying on our collective wisdom, not on that of a select few who might even have the lack of it. You asked why I ran. The same thing that made me run as a youth in 1992, some of the listeners may not have been born, was that I believed I had something to offer. I could see there was a still feel that I have something to offer to my country, and that's why I would run again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The movement has always said it is tribeless, leaderless, partyless. What were your thoughts when you first heard that we were leaderless and we were able to mobilize and get the gains that we have gotten so far in terms of the bill being rejected, and the pressure and the momentum is still building, but we are still a leaderless movement? What are your thoughts on that specific topic? We are leaderless.
I was actually very excited and I'm still very excited. The way the movement has been able to mobilize so extensively, more than anybody else has ever done in this country, and had an impact worldwide, not just in Africa. This movement is being acknowledged everywhere. And after various spaces and hearing experiences from Zimbabwe and other countries, I realized that the one strong thing the movement has going for itself is because it's leaderless, tribeless, and did you say faceless? Because what is happening, if you had an acknowledged leader, that leader would either have been compromised, and if they can't be compromised, abducted, or whatever else would have happened to them. The for using the social media, Ruto was able to hear you and withdraw the finance bill. Initially, they were tone deaf, but they withdrew the finance bill. Although that is a lie because he's still implementing some of the things in it. He was able to sack almost all his cabinet. You did not have any memorandum presented to him. This is the strength of the movement. Focus on issues, not on personalities. Being unable to know who is the leader and therefore nobody to compromise. Keep at that until this job is over and then pick the leaders. And I keep on telling the police and the army whenever I can that the constitution is clear via Article 1. People can exercise their sovereignty directly, and this is precisely what you're doing. We were saying it last year during Azimio protests, but we have never experienced people of Kenya acting under Article 1, exercising sovereignty directly. We have seen it under Gen Z. This is truly phenomenal. It is your strength. Let's keep it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to read one of the comments I'm seeing here. I wonder how people always celebrate Kibaki's presidency so much. He's always the best president, yet castigate Martha for protecting his vote. Can't you see this narrative is a psyop by Martha's competitors in 2013 to exonerate themselves from 207 for votes? Alas, the public bought the propaganda. Something to think about. Rabia, mic ni yako.
Shukran sana na shukran Mama Martha kwa vile umejitolea hata huku kuongea nasi na kujumuika nasi katika huu mradi wa Nane Nane. Ningependa kumpa mic kwa Chege, naona umeinua mkono, alafu kisha kama wapenda kuongea unaweza inua mkono uchaguliwe. Chege?
Thank you so much, Rabia. Thank you, Afrocentric, Psychosins, for keeping us here. I've always been, and also, of course, Senior Counsel Martha Karua, thank you very much for coming. I was going to say, I've always wondered since we started this, joining these spaces Afro, whether having politicians and hosting politicians is the right thing. But after listening to Tribeless, I am now 100% sold that it is extremely important that they come here and they listen to the voice of the people, because we've been hearing the cries. Senior Counsel, I beg to differ on a number of things. First of all, I am very happy that you got to hear that emotional presentation by Tribeless. And I just pray that you can do some personal reflection when you are witness to the atrocities in Kiambaa and did nothing when you were Minister for Justice. It is not enough. I want to tell you, it is not enough that you resigned from that government. You are still senior counsel. Do not come here and speak to us as if you are one of us. We are not advocates of the High Court of Kenya. We are not senior counsels, but you are. As far as I am concerned, if you want to inject yourself in this movement, we need to see you physically marching with these people, because you know very well, if you're marching, they will not shoot. If you're there with the Gen Zs, the atrocities that we are witnessing will not happen. You cannot sit quiet and tweet when bodies are being discovered at Pity Mortuary. I am sorry, but as far as we are concerned, and as far as we have seen, you have been there. We were so proud of you when you walked out on Moi. You know, you've been saying some of them were not born. Yes, some of them were not born, but some of us were. We were proud of you when you walked out on Moi. We were proud of you when you did resign. However, what then happened? As far as we are concerned, it was just political posturing. Later on, you came back and became Raila's running mate. You cannot tell us that you have not benefited. Of course you have benefited. And we keep hearing the talking down on this movement. We keep hearing the infantilization that their children, my grandchildren. Do not call them your grandchildren. These are adults. Accord them the respect and the honor of the achievements that they have had, because none of you, and probably even us, my generation, I am Generation X, we did not achieve even an iota of what this generation has been able to achieve. So if at least you do want to be associated and respected by this movement, let us see your actions. Let us hear your voice. Do not just tweet, add Ruto must go, because that is what has led this movement to have the success that it has had. Put pressure on the international community. You have been a minister in the government. Let us see you exposing some of the things that you know. Let us see you be part of that push to get this entire regime and all the evils out. That is what we require from you. That is what we expect from you. And please, 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 step back as some of us are doing and allow the Gen Zs to stand. Do not stand. Sacrifice yourself, sacrifice your leadership to nurture new leadership that is uncorrupted. And thank you for applauding the leaderlessness, because that is one thing I've been saying. And let us amplify the voice of the Gen Z. I literally just picked the mic because of that. Those who know us here, we've been fighting to keep the fire going. Nane Nane, Senior Counsel, I hope we will be seeing you and not just listening to rhetoric. Thank you, Afro.
So shukran sana kwa hiyo submission Chege. Labda Martha ungependa kumjibu?
Yes. And I would begin by asking him, why do you want to see me in the demonstrations and you do not want me to stand? You don't want to offer me to offer myself for leadership. It is
Yes, I will
not.
answer.
Let me just say this. It is not correct for any one person to arrogate to themselves the right to tell another Kenyan, irrespective of age or circumstance, that you cannot participate in this one. If it's a constitutional right, let me be guided by my conscience, not by your caution. And I want to tell you, Tribeless, that you cannot say that as a minister, during the burning of Kiambaa, I did nothing. A minister of justice does not control police. I cannot tell you everything I did, but in places I made calls. You remember those days, it's provincial commissioners who were in charge of the security in the provinces. I made calls to the Rift Valley provincial commissioner, who is now a politician, and I will not name him. I tried where I could when I found that my colleagues were failing to get the police to act. And if you remember that time, the police were divided. So there are some who are watching atrocities doing nothing. But there is nothing more that could be done that I didn't do. And I didn't control the police. So that just like you, I learned of some atrocities that were committed after they were done. But maybe my face was seen more because I was speaking and others were not speaking. I don't need to defend myself. You can go back to history. When I have been in demonstrations since I was youthful in the university, before even coming out, and thereafter as an opposition politician, and during the fight for multi-party, and also fighting for Section 2A to be repealed. So I can very well sit here and tell you that I've done my bit. Let the young people of this time also do their bit, because every generation has their work cut out. When I say these are my children and grandchildren, I'm not speaking down to them. For goodness sake, I'm 66. A person of 30 and even 40 is young enough to be my child. A person of 20 is my grandchild. If I was merely calling them that and not lauding what they are doing, not appreciating the milestone, you could say I'm talking down to them. I definitely have not talked down to the Gen Zs and the millennials. I have acknowledged them anytime that I could on my timeline and everywhere. And I have actually said we sit back. And why so far we have not come out? The Ruto regime was looking for somebody to blame. And if you remember, the Gen Zs also did not want politicians there. They were looking for who is leading the protest. Look at a position if we had come out. They would have been calling it yet another Azimio demonstration. But I did say earlier that it has gotten to a point where we need a real groundswell and where everybody needs to come out and support. I will not tell you what I'll do, but I do think that the time has come for everybody. But let's not try to prescribe. You cannot prescribe. You can persuade me and I can persuade you, but you cannot prescribe to me. You build a movement through persuasion, not through prescription. Thank you.
Shukran sana. Chege wasikia Mama Martha ni Iron Lady. Kwa hivyo
Namkia, but she asked me to answer a question, and I'd like to reply. Senior Counsel, I'm not prescribing for sure, because at the end of the day, your rights are your rights. However, two things that I want to point out to you. Why do I want you to go to the streets, and I do not want you, and yet I don't want you to offer yourself? The reason why I want you to go to the streets is because these children and grandchildren of yours, as you're calling them, when you are there, when, for example, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya would march with them, you know very well they will not shoot. It is a powerful, powerful statement. Yes, you did your part, and I acknowledge that. I acknowledge your right to choose to let them lead, and that is fine. Why not offer yourself? Why I feel you should not offer yourself is because in 2007 we saw you swearing in Kibaki. Then you became the minister. You resigned. Then you became the running mate. So your moves for us are suspect. And therefore, we are questioning you. We are putting you to task to tell us whether this rejection of Azimio is yet another ploy, because that is what you do as politicians. And we are judging you by your actions and your...
Do you want me to say something or we leave it there?
Kama ungependa kuongea unaweza kuifupisha labda.
Ni kusema tu.
We can always also leave it there.
But
the future will judge. There is a future after Nane Nane.
Okay, we'll leave it. We'll leave it.
Okay. Shukran sana Chege. Yes, endelea.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Afro Cedric, thank you for giving us this opportunity to continue hearing our issues and grievances, and also our plan for Nane Nane. And the one thing I want to say is that we need to be very focused and very determined on what we want and what we think we are doing. Right now, I've been listening for the last almost 2 hours plus, and the people are really, it's like they are putting the senior council to grill them on behalf of the other leaders who have been in place, which to me, I find it unfair. And like we need everybody right now, we join hands and remain focused. Remember, amongst us in these spaces, there are people who have just been bought to come here and continue diverting our attention so that we get divided. That's what I was just trying to pick amongst ourselves, because I don't want to understand why, when we are supposed to be saying anyone who is not against us is for us, let's come together. We are tribeless. We do not have anything to advocate for. We are leaderless. We are coming there. Everybody comes and stands on their space. Whether he is a senior politician, whether he is a non-politician, whether he is a Christian, whether he is a non-believer, everybody stands in their position. And I think that's why we said that it's no longer a generation Z, but all generations incorporated. And when we say all generations incorporated, that means we are incorporating everybody who is governed by the Kenyan constitution, regardless of their age, regardless of their faith, regardless of anything that we can come up with. It's either you are in the side of the government, which is actually vandalizing us and killing us, or you are in the side of the rest of the Kenyans, the 50 million Kenyans, who are saying we do not need these governors. We do not need Ruto in office. I think the key thing which is supposed to drive us as citizens is that anybody who is for us, because people are pretending to be for us, coming here to champion things which are not necessary, to divert our attention, and instead of pulling our strengths together and strengthening what we have, they are championing things which are unnecessary. I think if we need a podium to grill Mother Karua and any other leader, any other political leader, we need to plan that in the future. But right now, guys, can we concentrate? Can we concentrate on trying to know who are coming to Nairobi? How are we going to host them? How are we going to occupy the places? How can we tuck in the armed forces, the disciplined forces, to come and join us so that they are in the forefront to lead and also at our backs to protect us when we are escorting them to go and remove Ruto from the office? Guys, we cannot sit here and listen when we are grilling people. Let's plan to grill them when due time comes. Right now, we are fighting for something that we do not have it yet. Bado hatujapata Ruto kwa ofisi. If Ruto was outside the office, it would be the ideal time for us to start grilling Mother and the other people, not only Mother, but any other politician who wants to get the seat. But right now, can we pull our strength and all our resources and all our minds together on what we can do on Nane Nane so that we remove somebody out? And kindly, Afro-Cedric, with all honesty, anybody who's coming here to divert what we are supposed to be doing right now, let them step down. Just remove them from the mic, because we need to remain focused. Kuna watu wamenunuliwa hapa. We can hear them. Kuja kutu divert so that we don't discuss anything constructive. Can we concentrate on what we need? Nane Nane. The issue from now to kesho, it should be Nane Nane. Mpaka how people are living, whether people have a right and all these things. Kindly, with all due respect, I respect everyone Kenyans, but we need to remain to our focus and to our core duty, which is removing the sitting government in office. Any other person who has been just bought, let's forget about them and ignore them. And you will hear them when they start conversing. Kindly, let's think about that and let's remain focused. Thank you so much. May God bless us all.
Thank you, Josephine. The other guy, unaweza beba mic. Karibu.
Hello, I was wondering, how do you follow that? So I think we are a different generation, and I also think the saddest thing anybody in Kenya could be now is Mother Karua. You see, Mother Karua, from what I know, she resigned from a corrupt government in after the 2008 elections, which is what we expect from good leaders. But that apparently was not enough for Kenyans. So they dragged her kwa matope, ameshindwa na kazi. In 2022, she joined Raila to become his deputy. Raila apparently also fooled all of us, including her apparently. Now, during the 2022 elections, I asked grown persons who have known her like forever why they would not vote for senior counsel Mother Karua. And the best they could come up with was that she is a woman. And hiyo ilikuwa watu wa bodaboda, watu wamemjua, watu wamefanya. Let me average that age to around 35. Okay. So I asked them if Mother was a thief. Since Kenyans, kitu hatutaki ni corruption. So I asked them, do you think Mother is a thief? It's a different generation. What is eating Kenya is corruption. And everybody who has read about Mother Karua or followed her through history, anajua she has never been corrupt. Okay, she has never been accused by anybody. Hata kwa these politicians who bash each other kwa political rallies and all, none of them has ever said Mother Karua stole this, Mother Karua stole that. Yet he has called out everybody boldly. Ameita watu, amesema huyu ni mwizi, huyu ni mwizi, huyu ni mwizi. But the system has poisoned our mind to think that she is an enemy for no apparent reason. She has the passion to bring about a better Kenya, and maybe that's her life's purpose. Should she exit this world knowing well she has never accomplished her purpose? Would you be okay to do the same? Would you fight since 1992, since the 1980s in university for a better Kenya? And then somebody comes and tells you, we don't want you because now you are 66 years old. If that was your life's purpose, if that is what you think you are meant to do, would you be okay if somebody told you, now you are 66 years old, it's not okay for you to pursue? So what if she is to live for another 30 years? What if she is to live for another 30 years, and then that's 96 years and she has not accomplished whatever she wants to do? She lives in another country with corrupt people. What she has been fighting her whole life. Anakuwa sasa ataishi for another 30 years watching the same thing because some guy thinks she should exit the stage. I think the system has turned us against activists in a very bad way. Okay, we need people like Mother Karua and Omtata and this other Senator Onyonka and maybe Boniface Mwangi in one pot. We need people to hold these big offices until we come of age. Those people cannot all be corrupt. Everybody likes one or the other. Maybe one of them is corrupt, but they cannot all be corrupt, and you know that. Okay, we also cannot give power to persons we meet on Twitter. Wamekuwa wakinunuliwa huko. Their track record on integrity we do not know. We know we can trace the track record on integrity for persons like Mother Karua and Omtata and Onyonka. You see, we can track, and they should come together also and form something good, since their purposes seem to align. We will be the ones to tell them who to include there and who not to include there, because they have track records. There are track records for everybody in the country. We can always follow that track record to where it began until now. Okay, and if they happen to fuck us up, we will still do them what we are going to do with the current government on Nane Nane. The power remains with us. Okay, guys, about Nane Nane. If the guys who were killed mercilessly by even snipers, seriously snipers, during protests are watching from high heavens and we do not come out to finish what we started with them, we might as well have killed them ourselves. Okay? And to the current university students, if you do not come out in support of justice and accountability, mkimaliza shule pia nyinyi mkose kazi na mwanze kulia, sasa hiyo itakuwa shida yenu. So guys, make this reach every university student out there. University students, mtamaliza, sisi tulimaliza. We have been out here, we've been suffering. This is not our fight peke yetu. This is for you, and if we do not accomplish what we intend to accomplish, mtatoka. Yes,
Samahani.
graduate.
I think you're dropping off. I think you're dropping
Mnafaa
off.
kutokea. Yeah?
You're dropping off. Endelea.
Okay. Alafu still on the Nane Nane subject. Mimi sitaki kuona mtu akikufa Nane Nane. So guys, if you are coming to demonstrations, if you are going to demonstrations, be vigilant. Ukisikia risasi, shuka ukae mahali uko. These people, some of them are animals. So if a bullet is fired, and please pass this to the other people. If a bullet is fired na umesikia risasi, shuka mahali uko, kaa chini. Makarao wakicharge na mko wengi, kaeni chini nyi wote, because when you start running, they shoot your backs, and that is how we lost Rex. May God rest his soul in peace. When they charge you, kujeni, kama unaenda maandamano, kuja na rafiki ama marafiki 10, it is enough if all of you mnashuka mnakaa chini mkisikia risasi. It is also our obligation to prove to our parents that we do not intend to ban this country. So we must be peaceful. We must prove to our parents, ndio watakuwa naona hizi vitu zote kwa TV, that alafu this is the propaganda that the government is feeding our parents and our grandparents at uko ushago, that we want to ban this country. I do not want to ban this country, and I've been to all the demonstrations, and I do not think any Gen Z wants to ban this country. So it is our obligation to prove to our parents that we do not want to ban this country. And how can we do that? Let's remain peaceful. So ukiona msee anaiba ama anarushia askari mawe, piga firimbi, shikeni yeye, peleka yeye kwa hao askari. Let's be civilized also if we want everybody to join our movement. Okay. And it is true that Mother Karua and alike should join the movement, but it is our movement, and we can all and if we can all agree that we want them on board, then they should come. Let's be logical. They are the best persons who can lead us. You can drop names if you want, but the track records are there. The track records are there. If you sieve through the rumors and the accusations and the false accusations, you can also always find a clean, good record of all these people who want to become our leaders. So if we want people to become our leaders after this, we can always choose. After all, we the people can always take the power back, because the power belongs to the people. So thank you, Rabia. That's all.
Okay, shukran the other guy kwa maoni yako. Naona hujauliza swali kwa Mama Martha bado, lakini maybe tunaweza kusonga mbele. Huku tukisonga mbele tukumbuke kwamba yes, kuna watu wenye wampoteza uhai, na vile tulianza huu space tulianza kusema tunachukua maelekezo au funzo kwa maandamano za Bangladesh, na kumbusho kwamba kwao waliamua kusimama kidete na ile maandamano yao, hawakurudi nyuma tena wala hawakulegeza kamba. Wao walipoteza hata watoto 32 kwenye hayo mradi ya maandamano, walikatiwa internet, yani hakuna mawasiliano, lakini bado walisimama kidete na walisonga mbele. Na huku tukisema ile twabeba tukienda maandamano ni bendera na chupa la maji na simu, tuongeze pia snacks, kwa sababu labda itakuwa ni 48 hours. Watu kama ni kukesha wako tayari na chakula zao, na wenye wako na biashara labda wasiwe na hofu kwamba wataibiwa wala chochote, manake kwa vile sisi twajijua, twajiamini ya kwamba sisi hatuna nia ya kwenda kuiba au kufanya uharibifu yoyote. Kwa hivyo pia ni ombi tunaweza kutoa kwa security agencies na friendly forces wakuwe friendly pia kwa sisi, maanake sisi si adui. Ile lengo ni kujenga taifa na kuijenga pamoja. Kwa vile Mama Martha, labda tunaweza kupeana mic kwa dada huyu anaitwa Alicia, alafu tutaenda kwa Esquire. Mtafupisha lakini maoni yenu na ile utatolea Mama Martha ili aweze kujibu. Inshallah. Alicia alafu kisha Esquire. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to start by a short preamble that says I really don't appreciate, and I'd like to disagree with the people that are saying that we should just leave the past to the past, because that past is influencing what is currently affecting us. These questions were asked but were never answered to the people. So this is a public forum that we are now able to ask, Martha Karua, the questions that some people felt like she never answered. Nane Nane is all about accountability, and it doesn't matter that people are asking for accountability for current issues with the current government or previous government. It has to start somewhere. If any previous leader were here, we would be asking the same questions. Martha Karua is not in government, but she served in a government, so I don't see why it's absurd that we're asking these questions. So I think 2007 is very important for the Nane Nane March, because these are the questions that we should be asking to every single leader. The other thing, now this is a question that I would like to direct to Martha Karua. I really thank you for clarifying everything that you, in your account that happened in 2007 and how we got there. And you said that both sides bear the responsibility of what happened, and that is very true. I think what people are asking here so vehemently is, why should they trust you now as an alleged voice of the people and part of the movement when you were part of what we considered an oppressive regime? It is very clear right now in this country that people who have held a position in the past, or powerful people, are the people who usually get positions. So it's very likely that after this movement, you might get a position. We want to know, why should we involve you and trust you in this movement as part of this movement when you are in government? You've answered most of the questions, and very well. I really think you've answered most of them very well, but I feel like you should answer as to why we should let you be part of this movement, because after all, you really would get a position if you're going to vie. And, you know, the questions about 2007, most people feel like they're not answered. Maybe this is not the right time to answer them, but I feel like at some point you should address all those questions, because your ethics do come into question. Like people are saying, you know, Kibaki was sworn in darkness. Yes, in 2007, there was no requirement to wait because there was a vacuum in leadership. Yes, that is very true. But ethically, you should have held back until the voting populace was satisfied to swear in Kibaki. I think that is what led to the conflict. And I think that that's what people are asking now. Ethically and morally, are they able to trust you as a leader? And about Nane Nane, I honestly think maybe some people would disagree, but this is her country as well. I honestly think she has the right to show up. And if she does show up, it shows a very powerful statement, not just to the people who are there, but to the leadership of this country as well, which might be an illegitimate leadership, but to the leadership as well. I think it shows a very powerful statement that you are not going to support them. The last thing I would like to address here is that I think this is her country. She has a voice. Someone's voice cannot be taken away. She is a Kenyan. She has a constitutional right to speak freely, just as you have a constitutional right to speak freely. We cannot claim to defend this country and its great constitution and pick and choose who has rights if they are a law-abiding citizen. And we've seen that Martha Karua is really a law-abiding citizen who might have been caught up in, you know, some very bad incidents. And I think that the last thing, or this is the very last thing, I'd like to say, I would really like to applaud her for every single step that she has made. She has made changes in her alliances as the facts change. And I think that is a very important thing, even to us, that we should learn from. When the facts change, the opinions should change, your alliances should change. So Martha Karua was not only well within her rights to change her mind, she was also intelligent to do so. And that does not make her a horrible person, that she changed sides or alliances. I think that is very something that we should applaud. Thank you.
May I answer this and get on to another appointment? Do I have the host's permission?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
you're
yes, yes. We
audible.
can hear you. You can go ahead. Rabbi anakusikia? Martha, can you hear us?
I can't hear her. I don't think she can hear us. But go ahead if you can hear us.
Senior counsel, we can't hear you if you're speaking.
Labda ama mpata simu labda. Mama Martha, watupata?
I muted your mic. Please unmute if you're talking to us. Lakini labda amepata simu, atarudi. Endelea.
Okay, wacha tusonge mbele na Esquire. Alicia, thank you so much kwa submission lako.
Okay, thank you so much, Rabia. I think personally I won't speak right now because I really wanted to ask Mother Karua a question. Now that she can't hear us and she's not responding, I don't think my question or my input will be very relevant right now.
Okay, ni sawa, unaweza baki kwa speakers list, alafu kisha akirudi unaweza inua mkono, labda ampata simu. Tuende kwa KOT Don mwanzo. Karibu kwa mic.
Nasema shukran sana kunipatia hiyo mic kwanza. Nimekuwa hapa for long
nikisikia hiyo story from the other guy akiongea, nimekaa hapa nikisikia that girl Alicia akiongea, and what I can say, I just want to correct the other guy. You know, it's like you are advocating for Martha Karua, right? See, Martha Karua also has that history. She also has a bad history. So see, sasa kama yeye ni she's a woman and she's being thrown out of those seats, we should just advocate for her. Okay, so that's what I was saying first. And second, my question wanted to go to Martha Karua. Ile time after we dissolve that CS, there was this tweet that Martha Karua said that we are not boarding. Martha Karua, you said you are not boarding. What is it that you are not boarding? And what's happening that you can't come out and tell us? Juu kama uko na sisi, unafaa kuwa tu unakuja hapa unatuambia yenyewe hiyo shughuli ilipigwa hivi, walisikilizana hivi. Juu naona watu wanarudishwa CS hadi sio watu wanafaa kuwa hapo CS. Unasikia hapa? So you should come out clearly, tell us what happened so that the other guys wakarudishwa kwa those seats and so on and so on. Thank you so much for the mic, Rabia. Thank you.
Shukran. Vi kama Martha umerudi. Mama ni kama bado hayupo. Western.
Rabia, thanks. I also wanted Mother to hear my submission.
Basi tutamsubiri. Msema kweli labda upo? Msema kweli? Okay, wacha tusonge mbele tena, labda Sigret.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me the space. I also had a question for Mata, but I also want to think that we are losing focus. Hii saizi tunafaa kuangalia Nane Nane ikoaje, the people who want to go to the demonstrations, how are we dealing with them? Inakuwa organic na wenye hawatafika watafika aje? Like we need strategies. Martha Karua tuko na yeye na whether we are going to be with her or not should be a question after we've captured what we want to achieve, you know? I wanted to understand mimi kama mtu nimesupport Martha kabisa, and she has been talking about my community here and there, my community. What is her role in people from her place playing tribal politics? Anajaribu kufanya nini ndio arekebishe hiyo mambo? Because we've seen, like every other time, they are talking so much about this community here, anajaribu kuwapea funzo. Because right now, somebody like me, I'm from the lake, I'm doing all I can to tell my community that, you know what, we cannot be following this man hata kama anatupeleka kwa dustbin, you know? Is she actively doing something like that? Because this is the same people who we hear from history and its facts that they did, I don't know, some political oaths. And I've not seen Martha come out clearly and tell her people, that this is not the right way to do it. Because if we are going to deal with tribal politics in this country, it's about people who have seen the light, going back to their villages and telling people that, you know what, we cannot continue like this, you know? Martha is somebody that I personally respect. I think among the political class, amejaribu kukua very, well, politicians have been very, very dirty, but Martha, I can give her. Of course, the 2007 image, nayo ime stick na sisi. That is something that Martha should know, that it will continue sticking in Kenyans' minds. She should be, if she wants to be truthful, she should be truthful as to say that in 2007, Kibaki did not win elections. That is the truth that she cannot run away from. And she knows. And me, I watched the television when Martha aggressively butchered justice in 2007. And right now, because we are now forgiving and trying to rectify, if she wants to be truthful, She should just come and tell Kenyans that, you know what, I messed up, but the truth is that in 2007, Kibaki did not win elections. That is the truth that Martha should say. That notwithstanding, Martha is somebody that will still have my respect as a Kenyan. I've seen what she has done. But right now, guys, let us focus on Nane Nane. And the people who are, another thing that I wanted to talk about is Kenyans who are giving Raila Odinga platforms. Why are you giving Raila Odinga platforms? Yesterday, he went to Toy Market and people are clapping for him. Why are you clapping for that man? Huh? Why are people standing in Raila Odinga's crowds and still laughing with that man? Mbona hamfukuzi? Huh? Why are you people still entertaining Raila Odinga? That is somebody that should be deplatformed. Huh? Because a hijack movement yetu. He has legitimized a failed regime, and we are now here. Huh? Raila Odinga should not be given space ya kuambia Mkenya kitu yoyote. Anatuudhi sana, and I'm speaking as somebody who has actively hata kwa demonstrations zake mimi nilikuwa naenda. You know, I've supported Raila Odinga all my life since I became a reasonable human being. Huh? But saizi anaudhi, na kama mtu anaudhi tumwambie bro unatuudhi. Let's focus on what we can do to our people. Personally, nimeshachanga pesa yangu, nimetuma pesa mtu mwenye anataka kuenda. Let us see what we can do. Let us give tactics so that Nane Nane should be successful. We should send a very clear message to the political class that we are about as our business, and Kenya is our business right now. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Asante dada, na vile umemsikia kila mtu ajitayarishe, Nane Nane inakaribia. Maybe kabla hujaongea kulikuwa na maswali kutoka watu wawili, tunaweza kupata kusikia hizo maswali zote alafu ndio ujibu kabisa. Ni sawa? KOT Don,
Martha, can you hear me? Weston, please check if Martha can hear you.
Hi, can I be heard? Mother, can you hear me?
I don't. Hold on, Weston. I think let me drop her and then add her back again. Or let me first reset the space. Then if it doesn't work, I will drop another back. But Msema, go ahead as we are resetting the space.
So as we look forward to Nane Nane, I think we still have to continue to become our rulers, and then we complain. Change may happen in other ways, but right now, 3 years is not a long time.
We need to have everybody, whether it's you who wants to run or someone that you know that needs to run, for running registration drives, all these things. That's the plan B. So if these other things doesn't work, then that one also needs to work so that we can be prepared for elections. Because whichever way, even if Ruto goes today, we'll need elections to figure out what the heck happens next. So we need right now to have people preparing for that. What does that mean? Every one of us needs to be either running or having people who have integrity on the ground running for every seat in the country. We need not to step aside and say, oh no, that needs to wait. No, we can do both. What is it called? You can you can walk and chew gum at the same time. So means
And then you'll answer everything and just give us your closing statement. Is that okay?
that. But they one Professor Makau Mutua. Moi Kibaki turned down that task force. Third, there was something called radical surgery in the judiciary when you were the justice minister. That process was adjudged as be political other than reforming the judiciary. You are party to that process. And the 2007 debacle matter, they are just more than political actors. They are also considerate people. Well, that's a stereotype. I do contest that, but that is usually thrown around. What sets female leaders apart from male leaders, that they've got a heart, they are empathetic, they care. In the heat of 2007 post-election violence, you stood firm and you defended what was clearly electoral theft, while women, children, and vulnerable people were being killed, displaced, maimed. You have never ever apologized to Kenyans to date. You've never. Recently, refused to implement the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission. In fact, he had pressurized some of the commissioners to delete the chapter on land which had implicated his family. There was a lot of money in that campaign, and Kenyans were asking who was funding that campaign, and they were saying taxpayers' money were being abused. You said nothing because it favored you then. So Kenyans are asking that a person who plays hot and cold like you on matters to do social justice, democracy, the rule of law, inclusivity, and a better Kenya, you will play a role of a saboteur, spoiler, vis-a-vis the current debate. In fact, I put it to you, Martha, that William Ruto had to bring Raila Odinga and these other people into his government after you and other people held that Limuru thing, which was tribal. And he felt, no, going forward, I won't get votes from these people. Which people? Referring to the Kikuyu people. That gathering was seen as a Kikuyu gathering. I've ever met a sitting president one-on-one. She has. That's how much power she has. She has been a cabinet minister. So when you come here and say, no, you're being producing establishment in Kenya. People today, they masquerade as opposition leaders. You wake up tomorrow, they're in government. They're denying the very, very things they said the other day. No, I didn't understand the hustler. Now they've explained to me, I now understand it can uplift Kenyans from poverty. Some of the people are being vetted the other day were saying those things. We can't have political actors behaving like this. And a Kenya where people are committed to ideals, to values, to the rule elections will always cry that elections were stolen because we have never sorted out that had Kibaki been a one-term president, we would not have any other problem going forward having one-term presidents. But because he refused, it's extremely difficult. Even William Ruto believes he cannot do a one-term because no one who came before you did a one-term. You did not midwife the draft, which was really polarizing. That referendum polarized the country, and it was a dress rehearsal for the 2007 elections, which naturally dissolved into civil war. Mother, do you honor honesty and transparency? We want a new Kenya, and a new Kenya means we own up to our contribution, condemn to repeat the mistakes that were made in the past. We must appreciate history, where we're coming from, and what roles did this imperative. And we asking Mother these questions and raising these issues is completely imperative, is part of national healing. Problem. You can convince me otherwise. Thank you so
draft because coming from where we're from, we draft something like our finance bill in of a spirit colonizers like kina and from your own capacity and understanding, how do we truly emancipate ourselves from these ties to
and her having served as both Minister for Water Management and Minister for Justice. So well when we had the which was Ruth stood up to, shun all leaders, because we've just learned that sometimes all it had to take lives to be lost for you guys to initiate a handshake. And why the handshake? Why would we just say no, this election was wrong, and we are not agreeing to this? If you agree to this, we need to follow the constitution. The elections were disputed because people were not satisfied. Why initiate that handshake? And why now don't we did we take time, because this thing was not about Raila, the anti-finance thing, the government butchering the constitution. Why are we not speaking out? Is it because we only speak out when we have something to benefit as politicians, or we only speak out Raila? We told Baba to go back to Bondo and relax after he lost his bid with the are trying to interfere with the protest that we are holding. We don't want talks with the government, but other politicians are like, no, we need to have talks with the government. What do you have to say about that from where you sit? Those are my only questions. Thank you.
Afro, can you allow me to ask a question directly impacting on our future? Whereby my question is, what All these things, how will they impact?
Senior counsel, are you there? Okay.
Yes, I will answer very briefly because there are questions I didn't put down. The two where a caller, I didn't, therefore I can't remember the name because I didn't put down, was asking, saying that Raila won and I should just apologize. I want to tell her that I differ completely. And I would refer everyone once again to what I said before and to the Kriegler report, an unbiased report which is a public document and is online. I do not know what better evidence she has. As a participant, I believe I also know the details of what went on. And even with the exaggeration on both sides, I genuinely believe Kibaki won. Online again, look for a Professor Troop from the US who did an analysis, and his analysis led to the belief that even with vote exaggeration, if you remove the exaggeration from both sides, Kibaki won. That's neither here nor there because Kriegler says it's useless to ask who won. I can only apologize for the loss of life, for injured feelings, but not for anything I did. I did not do anything that I shouldn't have done at all. Representing Kibaki doesn't make me a criminal. An agent is an agent, and every candidate is entitled. And that's why I asked, how is it that I am wrong for being Kibaki's agent, but my counterpart Orengo is not wrong for being Raila's agent? That's a very biased way of looking at it. I'm sorry, there we have to differ. The other question I have been asked, I want to actually correct. I have not been in government for 15 years. I've been in parliament for total of 20 years. 6.5 of those, I was a minister. 3 of them Minister of Water, 3.5 Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. So I've been more on the opposition benches than government. Those who want to know about me, check my tenure in water, see what I did rolling out the water sector reforms. On the constitution, I can just have bragging rights to say it is under my watch within that 1 year of the coalition government that we put in a law that helped to complete the constitution. And I did work as a backbencher to stop the mutilation of the draft before it was passed. In fact, Bandi now, who is been nominated CS Treasury, was one of my foot soldiers in making sure that we stop any amendment to the draft agreed on in Naivasha. So I would funded. Only 7% came from multilateral partners, not World Bank, not IMF. His second term was different. He borrowed from China, he borrowed from other places. The World Bank is here to make sure we never develop, we are never on our feet. It listens to America. It's driven by the funds. You align your priorities and begin with them. You do not apply money on luxuries when you have priorities. What the regime is doing right now is applying money to sustain luxurious life and to continue encouraging theft of our money by a small group, ignoring essential services for the people. So the accountability this movement is seeking for is the answer. And there cannot be accountability without enforcement. It has to be made very expensive, very, very big role to play. Like I said before, we man all the critical institutions. We are the ones who have bastardized through parliament, the vetting process, through EACC, but largely the courts, the justice system, and the courts are complicit. How did Raila pick me as his running mate? First of all, I say those who question 207, do you in your heart of hearts believe that if Raila believed I had helped steal his vote, he would have chosen me as a running mate, as a human being? Those of us who were involved know the truth. That is why we were able to work together. I didn't go to the Azimio camp because it was holy. I said quite frankly that both sides had baggage, but I could at least identify a few allies on the Azimio side with whom we would be able to push back those within Azimio bent on the old ways. I went to Azimio because one of the two sides was going to govern, and I was better off on the side that I thought would end up benefiting the people. And I always say I salute Raila because when picking me, he knows that I'm a person who will differ with him on certain matters. But he was bold enough to do that. Although today now he has disappointed me and us by going to the government side. The last thing that I was asked to answer, if you give me a moment, my whatever has closed because I need to answer it. Oh my, I'm not getting my notes. There's one last thing you asked. I have gotten it. The very last thing by Farah is why about the Agriculture Act, which is criminalizing farming and our seeds. This is going to turn us into slaves, worse than colonial times, and into food beggars. And you know, when we are food beggars, it means we have become somebody's robot. The root of government is a puppet of the West. The West want to stop us from using our seeds. They have an agenda of taking up the arable land, farming it themselves. When we plant GMO, our soils are soon going to be unable to grow indigenous seeds. That makes us dependent on seeds from the multinationals, which we can ill afford. This accountability that the movement is seeking is so crucial to our lives. Everything is going. Our minerals have gone. We've got to stop it. Our services have gone. You can see even the airport being taken. The last bastion, our farming, our agriculture, which is a mainstay, is what is going. No wonder Bill Gates came immediately, Ruto was inaugurated, to talk about GMOs. We have been sold, and now we are being sold as slaves. So it is very crucial that Kenyans push back. And it is crucial that everybody, we don't now just leave it to the Gen Zs, but we show up in support. Those who are asking whether, as a politician, I only talk when it is convenient, please follow closely any social space I am in. Myself, my party, we have been consistent in standing up for what is right, standing up for human rights even during this period, and standing up for anything wrong, pushing back the government for what is wrong. In 2023, as Azimio, in this year as ourselves, because we gradually became disenchanted with Azimio last year, even though we've only pulled out this time. So check and you will see who one is truly is. I want to thank you and to seek leave to withdraw to attend to other matters. It's
Martha,
been a pleasure
before you
and
leave,
honor. Yeah.
just a question before you leave.
Yeah.
The other day you tweeted a tweet saying that you are not boarding after the CS were shuffled. You say that you are not boarding. There's a tweet. You are sitting on the table, you
Yeah.
and the other ODM members. So
Yeah.
what is it that you are not
Not
boarding?
ODM, Azimio.
So right now you are not in Azimio.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that.
We are in the process of withdrawing, but we do not issue joint statements, not even with Akina Kalonzo. We are now playing as NAC Kenya. They are not our enemies. Those who are against joining government are indeed our colleagues, but we are taking time to grow our party, individual parties, which was our agreement in January this year. But we definitely are not boarding on anything that works against the people.
Thank you so much, Martha Karua, for gracing this space with your presence and for the knowledge share. We have learned a lot. Personally, I've learned a lot of clarification of events that have happened in our history, 207, a lot of things we saw on the news, but you had you are there in person and you participated in person. It's good to hear it from your mouth as explained by you. Thank you for adding your voice to the movement. We have been having leaders come into these spaces and listen to us, and we're paying attention to those who are listening to us and to those who are hearing our concerns and are also giving us your advice in the same way. But thank you so much from the other speakers, and you can leave at your convenience, but we'll continue the space. We get back on track. It is really good sometimes when the Iron Lady is here. We have to understand that in some issues we have to, it's like eating a fish. You have to eat the meat and spit out the bones. There are some things she did we are not happy with, but there's a lot of things she has done which we have to accept. We have to accept this is good. We can't take it away from her. That's what she has done. She's a woman of principle. That one we can give it to her. Akisema ni hivi, ni hivi. And she will resign in your face. And she's a Kenyan and she has a constitutional responsibility. We cannot deny, we cannot be saying we want constitutionalism and then we deny other Kenyans from exercising their constitutional rights. So the sword cuts both ways and we have to listen to each other. At the end of the day, as much as we disagree, we have to listen to each other and we chart the way forward. Guys, the march is on. Nane Nane, we're moving forward. We are gaining steam, and I'm telling you, hata hii conversation imetutoa kidogo kwenye the path, because hii mlima ya Ruto must go is the tuna discuss hapa future leadership movement. Honestly, no one will want to own this movement if we do not succeed. So this is the next 48 hours is critical, the most important 48 hours of our lives as Kenyans. We know this thing has grown, it has taken off X, it has taken a life of its own. Hata sahi tukikuja kwa hii space sema hii hatuendi tutashanga. This word has spread all over Kenya, thanks to you passing that voice from your neighbors to your family members to everyone. And now we just want to hear from people who are coming from outside the city. I hear there are buses rolling in, some people planning buses. I've been getting some messages in the comment section and also in my DMs. We want to plan that effectively. KOT is here. He's also overseeing a lot of logistics. He's going to share also a little bit about what's going on. Guys, Nane Nane is on. Nane Nane is on. Farah, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Sawa bro, shukran. Can you hear me? Yes, yes, we can. So, bro, the sababu ya kumuuliza Martha the question on the seeds and the livestock bill and everything is because a lot of us are focused on our past, what happened juzi jana. Hawa watu wanataka kutuibia our future pia, whereby we are turned into slaves. Our country right now, majority of the conservancies are registered by a UAE company for carbon credits. For instance, Shompole Conservancy, which is past Magadi, on the other side is Masai Mara. All of it is registered under UAE company. Do you understand what this means? This means we cannot industrialize. Hatuwezi tukajenga industries that pollute the environment because we do not have carbon credits. We have exhausted our own carbon credits, and it's because the people who already exhausted their own, who are polluting the environment for a period of time because they have industries and they have companies and they have factories, are now buying our as a country here. We cannot literally the seed act, if it's enforced, you cannot share seeds. You have to register as a farmer, and once you're registered as a farmer, you have to buy seeds from a certified seller, meaning hakuna mambo ya sijui umeenda umeamua kulima eka yako 5, umeamua kulima eka 2, hiyo imeisha. Read the livestock bill of 2024. These people ni wenda wazimu, wanataka watu waregister mpaka makuku zao, whereby dume ya jirani ikikuja kwako you pay a fine. To live with herself because she couldn't. It's a matter of a minute kufika hapo kufungua gate, mtoto amepigwa risasi, na wewe unatoka kutuambia tuongelee 2027. How are you different from the person who killed that child, because they are also talking about 2027? Hospitals public hospitals are basically, they're empty, ni manyumba tu, hakuna madawa, doctors are not paid, they're all working in their private hospitals. The road people, you people need to understand that there were generations that had problems. People are told to face kina Farao ambao as Muslims we are told al-amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. You stand up for what is right and shun what is evil, what is not right. So for this country, mimi in case Nane Nane kweni yangu, me just I have two requests: bury me in a flag and visit my mother, because this country either itakuwa yetu wote ama iumane.
Thank you so much for your submission, Rabia. Before you go, yes, the topic you talked about, the Seed Law Act and the Livestock Bill. It has been brought up on Spaces, but we have a little bit muzzled it because that is a huge topic on its own. That's a whole. It needs a space on its own. Pia kuna stories za mining, another huge topic. Rabia kwa hapa atakwambia stories za environment, pia hiyo ni space peke yake. So right now, what I've been trying to do is just focus, laser focus on Nane Nane March and Ruto must go. Tukimalizana na Ruto, all these things we have to revisit. The civic education has already started. The awareness is there. Some of us already reading these bills and familiarizing ourselves with what is actually going on and what these MPs had planned to literally sell the country and make us slaves again. In terms of even that seed act, I couldn't even believe in your own shamba. Imagine. So we do understand what's going on. The knowledge share is there. These spaces are happening. We are talking, and right
The fire is burning. I was dying to get that microphone when that brother talked about the carbon credit, all the interference of the West as the beginning point to try to redeem ourselves from this madness. These leaders, they want to enrich themselves, okay, and their families and their children. And nowadays, it's no longer business as usual. It's not business as usual. If means to die for this, liberating ourselves as Africans, we must do. We are sick and tired of the puppets of the West being used to sacrifice us. They send that they are now Ruto has been advised to send our brothers and sisters abroad. Yeah, that is one of the reasons why especially the youth should come down. The Gen Z should come down. That some of them like their big ambition is to go and work abroad, and then so that will calm us. No, that's lie. That is false. Why doesn't he send his own children? Let him send his children and then leave us back home and develop our nation. We don't want to sell out the best knowledgeable young youth and send them abroad where we still need them to develop our land. Why am I very passionate about this? It is now or never that Africans have to fight back. So this is a serious topic, as you say. There are so many topics that mine bills, genetically modified kind of system that they are trying to bring us. There's a lot to talk about, but number one thing, we must get rid of all these misleading leaders. Get rid of them, okay? And we shall not send away Mother Karua on this platform. Let her bring her number, and let us give her a chance. Let her hear her out. We still need her number. We are not asking her to lead us in this. No, we are asking her to be part of this. Even these criminals, let them confess and denounce, and then let them resign now. And then we say, oh, Africans, younger youth have woken up now. We are sorry, we are misleading you, and we want now to hand over the responsibility to you. We shall sit back and give you guidance where we can. However, you take the steering wheel, okay, and lead us. Everyone is welcome on board in this Nane Nane march, because we still need their numbers. We need people to finance. We need supporters. We need resources, welfare issues, water. Everyone need to pack their backpack with enough, plenty of water, plenty of power bank. The Nane Nane is to get rid of Ruto must go fast. And if he's not left, even if we stay there for 1 month, it is going to be worth it. And I guarantee you, numbers are a very, very important thing. With numbers, even those our brothers and sisters in uniform, they are going to join us. They have no option but joining us. And we're not going to tolerate them again murdering us. Yeah? We don't have guns. If they have guns, we are not on a military operation somewhere on the frontier. No, we are citizens. This is a national cause. Okay, so be dealt with by the military and the police. However, civilians, wananchi, I'm going to bring my brothers, my young brothers in primary school, secondary school, doctors, teachers, all of us as one team. They cannot take 2 weeks, 3 weeks until Ruto has gone. And then once that is done, then we shall consider leadership. You know, we shall bring on board Mother Karua because she has numbers. We still not deciding whether she leads us. But thank you very much. I have timed out. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank you so much, Paul, for your submission. Guys, I'm seeing some people there posting on the comment section. They are fundraising for Nane Nane March. Please, we have not, or I have not approved. I mean, or sanctioned anyone to put their personal number there for to fundraise. So if you send, that is on you. It is not verified. It is we do not know the individuals doing that in the comment section. Let's be wise. Let's use wisdom. Alicia, welcome to the space.
Hi, thank you. So I'd like to say that the person who spoke right before me was like really making good points, and also I'd also like to say there was someone who said if you don't like you cannot uphold and defend something you have not read. So I think we should all read the Constitution because we say Ruto must go, but I really don't think that after a lot of people understand what happens after Ruto goes. Usually, if the president resigns, we have the vice president, the deputy president. I like that guy to hold the seat. I forgot, like, what is his name again? Gashago?
Rigathi
Yeah,
Gachagua.
yeah, Gashagwa. Like, would you really like this guy to be president again? Because Ruto is not acting on his own. Ruto has his own army of goons acting for him. So it's not just Ruto that must go. I think we are. Um, we're not really like understanding that it's just the whole government that is the problem, and the whole government is working for one man and themselves. So I'd really like to say that as much as we're saying Ruto must go, on the 8th we should be saying that yes, Ruto must go, occupy State House. After that, we have to look for our own leaders. And now we have seen, honestly, I really like did respect Mata Karua until some point, and I feel like after she left here, she left so many questions unanswered that I personally would not vote for her because I think she's lying. But we have no other leaders lined up to say after Ruto must go, what happens next. And also, our military is not people we can trust because clearly we have seen them killing so many people on the streets. You think our military is gonna say, okay, guys, we're going to install a cabinet or a government that's going to work for us and actually trust those people will lead us with the capacity that we want to be led with. So as much as we are speaking of Nane Nane Ruto must go, we should be thinking ahead as well. And I know that this is like a wet blanket right now, but I really would like to say that we should be thinking ahead because Ruto could go and we would end up in such a horrible position with people who not only like they are tyrants, but they also want to kill us as like citizens who said Ruto must go. So I'm really sorry for being that wet blanket
Very,
that
very
says
wet
we should
blanket. Very, very wet blanket.
I'm really sorry about that, but I think we should also be speaking of like what happens after Nane Nane, because I think personally after we remove Ruto, it's not going to be safe for any of us,
It's
even
going to
the
be
people
very,
who
very
spoke
safe.
in
I
this
beg to
space.
differ. It will be the safest it has ever been. Like Kenya is going to be
Oh,
so safe, you're going to be shocked. Because right now we're being abducted. Do you understand? Do you understand how many
yes,
dead bodies are
absolutely,
showing up in the morgue?
absolutely.
245 bullets.
And you think
You think Kenya
Ruto's
is safe?
friends are going to be safer than him?
We're not saying
Very
The
Ruto
safe.
though. We are
after
Very
we
saying
safe.
Ruto
remove
and
Very safe.
Ruto
Ruto,
and the
you
whole
think his
Let,
friends are going to be safer than
let
him?
me submit to you. Let me
Safer
submit to you. It's
option.
going to be very safe. Number one, when you say Ruto must go, it is the presidency. So if Rigathi is somewhere sitting down, smoking a cigar, waiting for the presidency to be handed over to him, he's in for a rude awakening. We are occupying CBD. The presidency has to go. That's Ruto and his regime has to go. The constitution says it will fall in a transitional government, and then before we go for elections. And that's why if you had Josephine was saying the government, the military will have to come in to restore order, like to restore order, because we are marching. When we're going to be making decisions in real time. When we occupy CBD, occupy State House, we're making decisions in real time. So nobody wants Rigiji to come in over here. And then when it comes time to pick leaders, we will make those decisions when we get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, this mountain our plate is full right now. But we know the leaders who have been with us. We can see the individuals who have been part of the movement. We know the politicians and the leaders, whether the technocrats who have integrity. We will discuss that when we get there. But right now we are convoluting our conversation when you're telling us who are your leaders, what you're going to do, what you're going to do. When we have to be talking about how many of you mobilized. Alicia.
And I don't differ with that.
Yes.
I absolutely do not differ with that. And I'm really sorry if I sounded like I differ with that. I absolutely do not. But as you said, the military would have to step in. Do you guys, any of you guys, really believe in the military
Kenya
to
has the
step into
most
this country and they have
disciplined.
been killing our
No,
people?
no, no, no. You're thinking of other countries. The KDF is the disciplined,
He's
the
thinking
most
of the police.
disciplined. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't confuse the two. There's the police. The military has never shot a Kenyan. The police are the ones. In fact, we feel more safer under the military at this point. The police are the ones who are running rogue, especially the masked ones who are wearing plain clothes and shooting live bullets.
to vote for the adoption of the report. The constituencies listed. And away from that, the Division of Revenue Bill, this is an amendment bill, National Assembly Bills number 38 of the year 2024, is another motion lined up for debate this afternoon. This motion by the Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee, is currently at the second reading. And what we have at this stage is usually the debate by members who will be debating the various amendments proposed in the Division of Revenue Bill, this being an amendment bill, Bill number 38 of the year 2024. This afternoon, the inspection visit to semi-autonomous institutions of the East African Community in Uganda is a motion that will be spearheaded by the Chairperson, Committee on Matters Regional Integration. The caucus that of the East African Community in Uganda laid its report on the table of the House on the 29th of November 2024.
Haki wanadamu, twakusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao ameridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Twakuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako siendelezwe na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Sergeant, ring the bell.